Hey guys, this is Dakota Graff here in Santa Barbara, Honduras at Finca Colibri, and I'm here with Onyx Coffee Lab, but I'm not here to talk about Honduran coffee. I'm going to talk about the Leaderboard coffee that we submitted. So the coffee we submitted this season was number 4 in the lineup, and it is a Decaf Gedeb Chelbesa Worka Natural. This is a super unique coffee. I was really excited to be able to get it into Leaderboard because it's honestly kind of tricky, and I think Leaderboard is a little bit more fun with some challenge. So this coffee comes from Snap Coffee in Ethiopia. It's in the Gedeb region. We've been working with Snap for a number of years. I love their coffees in every iteration. They've been doing a bunch of wash coffee for us that's wonderful, some naturals. They did an anaerobic natural, which was delicious, and this year I ended up being a little bit long in our natural position, and so I decided to send it to Canada and try out some really high-end decaf. Decaf, for me, oftentimes is sort of, it's just looked at as like a basic offering, and I like to kind of elevate decaf up to the level that you would normally see for other specialty coffees, because I think it's just as valid. So this natural Ethiopia decaf has been a wonderful offering that we've had over the past few months, and I thought it just fit perfectly right in with Leaderboard. So yeah. So many of you are already familiar with naturally processed coffees. This is a coffee that's processed in cherry, and then it's just straight to the drying beds. So the decaffeinated version is no different. It ends up being exportable, natural processed, full caffeinated green coffee. I get that to me in the US, and then from there, I actually send it to Canada to be decaffeinated using the Swiss water process method, which I find really highlights the natural terroir and the natural flavor profile of the coffee. So since Leaderboard is a cupping game and it is an identification game in coffee, I'm going to talk about some visual cues that I would find to identify this coffee. Decaf coffee, to identify both variety and origin, is actually quite difficult because they end up looking fairly ubiquitous. Color-wise, Swiss water process ends up being a darker roast, but not an actual darker roast in flavor. It's more of a color indicator. So generally when I see a very dark coffee, but still has like that full wrinkle on it, I'm gonna probably identify that as a Swiss water process decaf. Now, some other visual cues that I would take to identify this coffee is size. Coffees from Chelbesa, from the Worka Chelbesa station, are oftentimes very small. That's due to really high elevation growing in Ethiopia, and also due to its screen sizing at the mill. Now, I take all those into effect and look at these small seeds that are kind of dark and probably have some other visual cues that would lead me to say that's probably a decaf coffee, but it doesn't really look like it's from Colombia. That would lead me to taste. So when we taste the coffee, up front, especially when it's warm, it's got a lot of that decaf nature. It's a little bit kind of round, heavy-bodied, sort of cups like a natural, but as it cools, that's where this coffee really opens up. You get some of those delicate florals that I love from the Gedeb region, and that natural process kind of shines through, and that's really what kind of drew me to the coffee, and how I threw it into Leaderboard to see how you all fared with cupping through this coffee and trying to identify it. So let's talk about some tips for brewing this coffee. I actually don't have any tips for brewing this coffee for you. At Onyx Coffee Lab, we release brew guides for every one of our coffees, and those are done by Alika Lifty, our Director of Education. He's going to be able to supply way more information about brewing this coffee than I ever could. So you can find this listing on our website, and this will have both brew guides for filter and espresso. So please go there. I can't help you brew this coffee. So always a pleasure to be involved at Leaderboard. I love playing the game myself when I can, and it's just super fun to be able to supply a kind of a tricky coffee to a situation where there's probably already a lot of tricks going on anyways, especially for a decaf. I just think it's super unique. So thank you to Leaderboard for letting Onyx be involved, and thank you for participating. I hope you all liked it. If you're interested in chatting about coffee, please find me on Instagram. Till then, I'm going to be enjoying this beautiful farm in Honduras, and I'll see you all next time.